Hello, hello, Just Gem here and welcome, or indeed welcome back to my channel. I thought it was about time that we had a look at some new / recent and upcoming makeup launches and see if there's anything that's worth spending money on. If I recall, the categories I'd established were yes, yes if money were no object, and no. Just no. Without further ado, let's see what has been popping up in the makeup releases of late. I'm going to scoot to the side so that I've got some space to insert some lovely images of these items, and I'll probably be referring mostly to Makeup on Your Radar 2 and Trend Mood 1, and then possibly just some random things that I've seen along the way. I can't remember if I mentioned the Pat McGrath collection in my last video. I can't remember if it had been announced yet. And I ummed and ahed about getting it, and I decided I would wait for when it inevitably goes on sale for 30% or potentially even more than that. And it's interesting because I'm going to take a bit of a tangent here, bear with me. One of the reasons I started this channel is because I was getting frustrated when I was wanting to buy things and I wanted to be able to see what it would look like on someone with my skin tone. And finding YouTubers who looked like me was insanely difficult, and sometimes I'd really struggle with deciding what I wanted to buy. I love watching content from creators of all different races, backgrounds, ethnicities, colours, but sometimes you just want to see what it's going to look like on someone with your skin tone or similar. And it's the same thing that's happening with Pat McGrath at the moment, because I'm approaching this as more of a consumer than as a content creator, she says, with like 140 subscribers. I'm approaching this more as a consumer, so I've been keeping an eye out to see what these shades look like on my complexion. And it's early days, definitely, it's early days. I haven't seen anyone yet. And this could just be because everyone is feeling a bit like me and they're holding out because they're a bit fed up with Auntie Pat and her constant pink and constant gold, and let's not go into that because I've got an entire video about this. But this palette did pique my interest because it did look as if it was going to be the Quint formula in an entire palette, and I've since learned that the formula is the Italian formula, and if you know anything about Pat McGrath, her Italian formula is top-notch, it's up there. So I considered getting it again just to help out other people who look like me in case it would be of any help, and then I thought, you know what, I'm not going to take one for the team this time. I'm going to wait for a sale, I'm going to pick it up then, and I might even not pick it up at all because some of the videos that I have seen have been comparing it to Celestial Odyssey, which I have managed to acquire since I expressed my desire for it. So let's see, watch this space. It's not a yes, it's not a no, it doesn't fit into any of my categories. I've already product one and I'm already not following my categories. Next up, there is a Patrick Tar and Barbie collaboration, and it's a very pink blush and a very pink gloss / lippy by the looks of it. I'm not really on the market for a Barbie pink blush, so that's going to very easily slide into the no category. No. So we've got the Gourmand Girls Cosmetics Calavera palette. I think that's how you pronounce it. I do like this, but there's something that's making me hesitate and making me not sort of press that buy button. And it's not necessarily like a price thing. I don't know, there's just... don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on what is making me not want to go for it with this palette. It's beautiful, it's stunning, but just, I don't know, I feel like this falls into just no for me, and I can't tell you why. I can't. The Danessa Myricks, so there's going to be a limited edition collection of 4 of her flushed blurring balm blushes. And these are colours, I think there's one colour in particular which is called Dancing Queen that's in here that I have been eyeing. And while I didn't rate the blushes when I first tried them, I do like them a bit more now. I don't know if this is even coming to the UK, like UK Sephora. I think it's one of those things where I don't know that I would buy it full price, but I might wait for it to drop in price because I do kind of want Dancing Queen, and there's a new limited edition tiny little red blush in there, and while it is tiny, I do think that would still last you a long time, so I'm very tempted by that, very tempted. So that's I'll put that in yes if money was no object, because of the fact I'm waiting for a potential sale on that one. Recently released is the Jolie Beauty, I think it's called Spellbound palette. And as a green, blue, purple lover, you'd have thought I'd be all over this. But again, it's a bit like that Gourmand Girls palette. There's something that's missing that's making me go, yes, I want it. Can't put my finger on it. Don't know what it is, because it's got all the colours that I love in a palette in one curated lovely little bundle. But I'm not interested. So, I mean, like, my wallet is probably very grateful for this. Beauty Bay, the Celestial Charms, there's a 9-pan, the 20-pan, and then a bundle with the lip glosses. I've already ordered the 9-pan and the 20-pan. They should have come yesterday. They did come yesterday, but I missed the delivery because I went for a run. So it doesn't pay to be healthy all of the time, because you try and be healthy and go for a run with your neighbours and you miss your deliveries. So, you know, I feel like I was punished for trying to be good. I don't think that's very fair. Bella Beauty Bar have been very busy bees, because not only have they released the Poison Garden palette, which I really want, and it's gone out of stock on Monolith. I'm very irritated because I was waiting for the next drop to buy a few palettes altogether, and they've posted on Instagram that Poison Garden is not going to be back for 1 to 2 months, so now I don't really know what to do. But anyway, I digress. Back to this palette, which is Vamp, and it's going to be a no, because I want Poison Garden. I don't think I can justify them both, to be perfectly honest. And it's not, to be honest, it's not a colour story that's screaming out at me. It's quite pleasant to look at, but it's not a me colour story. No, I'm not too keen on it. So that would be just a no for me. Glamlight and Coca-Cola. Having just tried Glamlight's formula, I'm definitely in the market for some more Glamlight palettes. However, I'm not too sure about this Coca-Cola collection. As with the Frosted Flakes palette, the colours are very appropriate for Coca-Cola. Very, very appropriate. However, a bit like with the Vamp palette, they're not really... I don't know, I just don't want it, to be honest. No. It's very aesthetically pleasing, and the highlighter really tickled me because the component is the shape of a Coca-Cola bottle top, which I thought was really, really cute. But when I saw it swatched, it reminded me of an even more glittery version of the Avatar White Lotus highlighter. So I'd be very curious to see what they look like next to each other. But props to them for the packaging, and especially that highlighter component, but no. Blend Bunny have got something coming. We've not seen it released yet, but revealed even, but Blend Bunny, they've changed their logo on the socials, and we all know what that means. Everyone gets whipped up into a frenzy because we know that something is on the horizon. This is going to be one of those, it depends. I need to see it first, because I've mentioned this before, I can't help but think that maybe Blend Bunny have backed themselves into a corner with the way that they do the colour stories in their palettes. I feel like they've limited themselves in some way. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what this new release is. Someone, I can't remember who it was, but they posted that they thought it might be a collaboration with Robert Welsh, and that could be very, very interesting. It'd be super cool if it was. So I'll be keeping my eye out, but I don't know yet about that one. Need to see what it looks like first. Nomad Cosmetics have released the Chicago Speakeasy palette, and as they were sort of dropping the clues and giving the vibe of this palette, I was thinking, yes, I'm in. Just, here's my wallet, Nomad. Just take what you want, help yourself. I'm in. And then it was revealed and I thought, oh, I was disappointed, and I'm having great difficulty articulating how I feel about some of these products. But there was just something about it that to me was a bit lackluster. And everyone, all of the people who've received it in PR are raving about it. And maybe it's because they've got it in their hands and they've been able to try it. Maybe that's what I'm missing. Like, if I had it in my hands and I could try it and I could swatch it and I could create some looks with it, maybe that would make me think, oh, what a lovely palette. But just looking at the colour story, like, there's a bright green in there which is majorly throwing me off. I really don't think it belongs there. I don't know, I feel like it's almost not sultry enough. It needs to be a bit more, have a bit more depth and be a bit more smooth. And like, when I'm thinking sort of Chicago Speakeasy and jazz, that's not necessarily the colour story that comes to mind. But when I've looked at people's pictures and I've just kind of put my thumb on top of that green, I look at it and I'm like, oh, actually, maybe that's a bit more in keeping with a colour story I could get on board with. I don't know. I'm going to think about it, and maybe if I see more people using it. I have seen a few swatches that people have done when I've gone, oh, actually, in that picture, that colour story looks alright. But if I do order it, I mean, I've got some time. It's going to be going to my brother, and he'll bring it over when he comes to visit later on this month. So I do have a bit of time to play with, to have a think, but it's looking highly unlikely, especially as I want to get Fiji. Why do I keep calling it Fiji? It's Fuji 5 Lakes, and the 2 Halloween palettes, Haunted Europe and Ghost Town. And I think it would be excessive to also get Chicago Speakeasy, especially when it's a colour story that I'm not overly enamoured by. A collection from Christian Dior, which looks very aesthetically pleasing, I must say. That 9 pan is interesting, actually. I've got to say though, I don't think I've ever purchased a luxury brand like Christian Dior, Hermes, Tom Ford. I'm trying to think of those other brands. Pat McGrath, Natasha Denona and Danessa Myricks really are the most money I've spent on makeup, and they're, I mean, reasonable is perhaps not the right word, but they're at the top end of the mainstream. But I've never felt the urge to delve into that super high end. Or would you say Hourglass falls into that? I don't know actually. Do you know what? I might put this in yes if money was no object, because there are definitely some items here that are catching my eye. So there are the smaller eyeshadow palettes. Both of them look quite pretty actually. I'd be intrigued to see some swatches of those. And as I say, that 9 pan and that highlighter quad, that's actually a very pretty collection. I'm going to go ahead and put that in yes if money were no object. I'll keep an eye on those, because if they ever go up, does Sephora even sell these? Would they ever be eligible for like a 20% off? Then maybe I'd give it a try, possibly, maybe. Interesting. Yes, if money were no object. Next, we have got a Wicked collab. I want to say that this is with Ariana Grande's brand, REM Beauty. I do like those pops of green, but on the whole, I feel like it's quite a muted palette for Wicked. Like, shouldn't there be like a yellow or a gold to kind of mimicate? I think I was trying to say mimic and indicate there. But to sort of, maybe like a gold in there to signify the Yellow Brick Road. Does the Yellow Brick Road even appear in that? Maybe that's actually only in The Wizard of Oz. No, nothing about this collection appeals to me. That would be just a hard no. Colourpop After Hours. It's a bit samey. That's the thing sometimes with Colourpop. They do churn out a lot. No. And I don't know if I've got this coming up, if I've taken a screenshot, but a recent release that I have picked up is the Stranger Things palette. Not too keen on the top row of that palette, but I like the rest of it so much, and it's $24. And I've never tried a Colourpop palette. I've never done it before, because whenever I've gone to shop on Colourpop, there's always only been maybe one thing I've wanted, and I haven't been willing to pay for shipping. But this time I wanted the Stranger Things palette, and I recently picked up some of the Chrome cream gel liners, and I really like those, so I've picked up the rest of the shades that I didn't get. So I did an order earlier on today, in fact, and so that's on the way. But this one, After Hours, that would be a no from me. This Gucci release, similar kind of feeling to the Christian Dior one, very aesthetically pleasing. I don't think so. I don't even think I'd put this in there if money was no object. It's very pretty, but no, I'm not averse to buying a quad, but not an expensive quad. And it's Gucci, so you know that's going to be an expensive quad. Hourglass are releasing yet more ambient lighting palettes. No. Moving swiftly on. I got very wildly distracted. My mum called me, and then after we spoke I was like, oh, I'm a bit hungry, so then I went and had some food, and then I was on Instagram. And this does have a point. This isn't really a tangent. It kind of is, but it isn't. Remember I mentioned Blend Bunny have changed their logo, which means that they're going to be releasing a new collection. Well, they've just posted on Instagram a guessing game. So guess the collab, guess who they've collabed with to create this collection, and guess the name of the collection. I'm 100% convinced it's Robert Welsh. There's a video that he did back in, I want to say July, and I'm 99.9% certain that he's wearing the palette in that video. Because in that video he's then posted a look on Instagram, and Blend Bunny have commented on it. How often do brands randomly comment on influencers' posts? It happens. It happens. But I also looked at the emojis, and there were some crystal balls and hearts and kind of looked like an alien. And did I take a screenshot? Because I went full on detective mode here. And a lot of the symbols that Robert mentioned correlated with a lot of the symbols that Blend Bunny are using to promote this new collaboration. Interesting. Coincidence? I don't think so. What else did I pick up on? Yes, so in the video where Robert is sporting what I'm sure is a very purple look with his palette, so I'm already saying it's his palette, he keeps reapplying his gloss, but he doesn't show the gloss on camera. And I watch a lot of Robert Welsh videos, and if he's reapplying something, where's my Natasha Denona lippy? he doesn't edit it out. He just goes, oh, my lip's a bit dry, and he just goes, dab, 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 and touches it up. And you can see the product. Why would you want to edit the product out if it's not a lip gloss that's part of your collab with Blend Bunny? Just saying. Just saying. So now I'm currently in a spam war. Well, I say spam war, I don't know who I'm warring against, but I'm currently spamming potential names under this post. Not gonna lie, partly because yes, I do want to win the collection, but partly because I want a sense of pride for correctly guessing the name of the collection, and the winning the collection would just be an added bonus. But who am I kidding? I'm going to end up with the collection because I'm going to buy it. Melt Cosmetics Universal Monsters. I think that's... Yes, it is Melt. No. I think I've mentioned my thing about quads. There's a time and a place for a quad. And sometimes they're very, very useful. But they're a bit limited sometimes because it's only 4 shades, so I don't tend to pick up quads. That's not to say I never have. Every now and again there'll be a quad that catches my eye, but I only like one green shade in here and I'm not sure about the other shades, and I'm not keen on the rest of the collection, so no. Now in my last roundup of new makeup, there was an ABH Spice palette, and you may remember because I asked if the Spice was in the room with us. Turns out that that was 50% of a duo mini collection, the other half being Sugar. And I think that's slightly more appropriately named, only slightly. I feel like it's a very similar colour story to Spice, except it's got a blue shimmer in it. So while the only exciting shade in Spice was a pink shimmer, that pink shimmer also seems to be in Sugar, and the exciting shade in Sugar is now this pop of blue. Can you tell where I'm going with this? Sugar and Spice, don't think it's that nice. No. Next. I think that was everything. Oh no, there was one more. The Charlotte Tilbury, sorry, now I feel like I have to keep saying it like that because that's how Teresa is Dead says it. So every time I watch her and she says Charlotte Tilbury, that's how I feel I have to say it going forward. I can't say it again. She's releasing a palette, so she's got she's got a lot coming out. It's the holiday season, I guess. Once October rolls in, because they're all in very, very quick succession, they just kind of start launching everything from now. But one of the things is that Beautyverse Love palette. I don't have it in front of me now, but I was reminded of it looking at this Spice palette. Yeah, because I guess they're similar vibes. And you know what? I was tempted, because with Charlotte Tilbury, I need to stop. It's a bit like how I feel about Huda products. The bits that I have tried, don't get me wrong, I like, but there's never anything that jumps out at me. I don't look at particular... Sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes, it doesn't apply all the time, but generally I don't look at Huda or Charlotte Tilbury products and go, ooh, I want that. But there was something about that Beautyverse Love eyeshadow palette that piqued my curiosity a little bit. But I think it's £59, which, I mean, I've spent that much or around that much on a mothership, but I don't know, do I want to part with that amount of money for a Charlotte Tilbury? I can't, every time. I can't say that name now without cracking up. I don't know if I want to part with that money on that brand. But there are 15% off codes knocking about, and because I'm yet to purchase from the brand, I could avail of one of those 15% off codes. And maybe it would be a good opportunity to try it and see if my opinion of the brand is enhanced once I've actually properly tried a product, because I think I've only ever tried, what have I tried from the brand? The bronzer, which I do like, to be fair, and a few lipsticks. I think I bought one lipstick and the rest of just, they always seem to come in beauty boxes. But I'm going to leave it there because I took that massive detour. I mean, you're not going to be aware of it. It should somewhat seamlessly transition for you. What new recent and upcoming releases have you got your eye on? Is there anything that you think you will be buying? Are you perhaps saving your money for Black Friday? Because I mentioned Black Friday last time. It's around the corner now. It's really not far off. So maybe you're sitting tight and you're waiting for Black Friday. I know for me, there are a few things. I mean, did I actually say I would buy anything? Blend Bunny. I think Blend Bunny is the only thing I said I would buy. I think my bank account is grateful. Oh, and then there are things I've already bought. I'm starting to jabber on, and the reason for that is because I'm tired at this point. So I am going to call it a night. I'm going to wash my face and take off this rather beautiful look. Do you ever get those days where you just don't want to take your makeup off? Not because you're lazy, but because it just looks good and you just don't want it to go away. Yeah, today's one of those days. Anyway, I'm going to wash my face, wash my hair, because I didn't do that yesterday and it's overdue, and then I'm going to go to bed. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch, and I hope to see you again in a video in a not too distant future. Take care. Bye.